Come on. We got something for you to watch first. Here you go.
We're here to give back and celebrate iWarriors. This is our 8th annual iWarriors golf outing. Let's hear it for 8 years. What is iWarriors? We're here because of iWarriors. iWarriors was started by Kim and Tim Bartz from Moldcraft. Amazing people. Their influence and application in the industry is amazing. And they decided that they wanted to give back. They had a vision of helping our military and what that would look like. And their way of doing that was to give iPads to combat wounded veterans to say thank you. There are over 25 sponsors for this event, including Molded Marketing LLC, Punch Industry, Inco, Mold Making Technology, United Tool and Mold, Durachrome, NGN, Legacy Precision Molds, Mastic, Pelco, Joseph Motorcar and Associates, Cimatron, SPE Mold Technologies Division, Reaction Plastic Solutions, AMBA, Slide Products, Standard Cutting Solutions, Chandler Tool, International Mold Steel, Falcon Plastics, and Westminster Tool, and that is... You know, if you've ever been to this outing, you know that this is not about the score, it's not about winning, it's not about any of that. Remember that you're out here for a reason other than golf. You're out here to network, you're out here to have fun, and more importantly, you're out here to give back to those veterans.
Welcome back to the Manufacturing Alliance podcast, everybody. We are so glad to have you with us. This is our international version of the show. I'm excited for this conversation. But before we get to that, I just want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for listening and being part of the Manufacturing Alliance. It's a big deal, right? We want to continue to tell people's stories about what makes manufacturing important, what makes it great, why people want to be a part of it, why it's important for us here in the United States, and for everyone else, let's say North America, right? It's a really important thing. Everything we use is manufactured. We might as well celebrate that and promote it and get more people involved in what that looks like. So we are going to continue to do crazy amounts of things, and we're going to love it every step of the way. So if you like what you hear, if you like our show, if you want to be part of it, please, please, please do that, right? Let us know that you want to be part of what we're talking about. And in the meantime, I would ask you to like and subscribe to our channel, whether it is the Manufacturing Alliance podcast on YouTube or the Alliance Specialties and Laser Sales page on YouTube or the Facebook page or the LinkedIn page or whatever that is. You're going to want to sign up and not miss the things that we have coming up. One of those is our Make Manufacturing Fun Again series that is going to be kicking off here soon. We have a bunch of companies that have already signed up to be part of this journey with Justine Ewald and myself. Through the TMA, we are going to be going out to different businesses and seeing who they are, what they do, why they do it, And then they are going to put Justine and I to the test and see which one of us would be the best employee based on the projects that they're giving us. I'm excited for that. We have like I said, a lot of interest in that. That's going to be starting. I think we are recording our next episode middle of December. So we're going to launch the new year with this project. It's going to be a lot of fun. And if you'd like to be part of that, send us a direct message, or you can send an email to Jack at the manufacturingalliancepodcast.com. And he will make sure that we get those submissions. This is a live show. So if you are disappointed with it and you think that's the best they could do with all the editing, we don't do any editing. We just do this with you live, talking with you, talking at you, bringing in guests. We do that for one big reason, because we don't want this to just be about us and what we have to say. We want this to be about you, our listener, our friend, our guest, right? We are all in this together. And so if there are certain things that you'd like to hear about during this program, during this time, let us know, right? Put it in the chat, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube or LinkedIn. Put it in the chat. We'll get it. We'll talk to you about it. We want to know what it is that you want to know and what you're thinking about. And if you don't really have any thoughts, but you're watching and you just want to shout out, you want some free marketing, you want some free, you want your name out there a little bit, just throw it in the chat. Like, hey, Scott Peters here, watching you as always. Hi, right? That's all you got to do. And we're going to say it. We're going to give you a shout out. He actually just put in the chat like 2 thumbs up. So they're both like 2 right hands though. So I don't know how to do that. I don't even know. Do they have a right and a left hand? I don't think that's important. But Scott Peters is here with us. Who is Alliance? Alliance is your mold maker that doesn't build molds. I meant to say this before, but I'm going to say it now. And as ridiculous as that sounds, that's the reality. So we want to do all the things that mold makers don't have the time to do, or maybe the resources and the staff to do. So everything from polishing to laser welding, laser engraving, hot runner repair, preventative mold maintenance. That's just a few of the things that we do. We also have a production welding department. So if you are somebody that's working in aerospace or medical and you're working on turning out high volume parts and you need somebody to weld that, well, you don't want to put it through traditional welding. It's going to do damage to your parts. Let us take a look at it. Let us do the laser welding for you. We'll handle all of the documentation. We'll give you everything that you need. It's great. The other thing is that we are manufacturers of laser welding and laser engraving equipment. And there's a lot of people that do that. There's people in Germany that do that. There's people in Turkey that do that. There's people in China that do that. There's people everywhere that do that. What makes us different? Why would you want to buy an Alliance machine? Well, I'm going to tell you. It's American made, and to us, that makes a difference. And not only does it make a difference because you have our service guys backing that up, you have the guys that are actually building the machines coming out and helping you and giving you the training and doing all the resources and being there for you if you need them. The other way we make a difference is through partnering with organizations like the Tim Tebow Foundation. So for every laser welding machine or laser engraving machine that you buy, that we sell, that has the Alliance name on it, we are going to give a portion of that sales to the Tim Tebow Foundation as our way of helping to end the problem of human trafficking. That's a huge, disgusting thing that we want to get rid of. I'm not going to go fight on the front lines. Nobody wants that. So the way that we can do that is partner with you. When you're looking for equipment, right? We want to try and make a difference any way we can, any area that we can. And this is one of those ways. So if you're looking for equipment, why not make a difference while you're buying the things that you need? All right. I think that's enough of a segue to get this started. I'm really excited for today. The Manufacturing Alliance is traditionally about American manufacturing. That is our focus. That is our primary conversation, is talking to you, the manufacturer, what you need, what your problems are, what's happening in the world, how we can look at growing together as American manufacturers to make things better. But today, we're talking with our friends from the North. We are talking with Darryl Gratrix from, where is he at? There he is. Darryl, welcome to the program from Molded Precision Components. I'm glad to have you on. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Tony. I appreciate the invite. I'm looking forward to our discussion.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. I think we have a lot of things in common when it comes to the US and Canada and what it looks like in manufacturing and probably a lot of the problems that we're both having, and hopefully together with people listening and watching, we can come up with some solutions as well. So that would be a goal, right? If we could solve all the world's problems in the next hour or so.
I think that's doable. I think, let's start with keeping all our manufacturing in North America.
I think it's a huge step in the right direction. Um, how does that look right now for Canada? Is Canada having the same? Well, before we get there, I'm
Yep.
jumping ahead of myself. Uh, People need to know why they need to listen to us, right? So, can you
Yep.
do me a favor, Darryl? Tell people a little bit about yourself, who you are, and what you guys got going on over there.
Yep. So currently I'm the tool room manager at Molded Precision Components. We're in Oro Medonte, Ontario, which is about an hour north of Toronto. We do plastic injection molding, mostly for the automotive industry. We're a tier 2 supplier. We also do parts for GM, of which we're a tier 1 supplier. We currently have about 85 people, around 17 guys in the tool room, and I've been here 11 years. When I started 11 years ago, we had 25 people, so we've grown quite a bit. Molded Precision Components was started in 1980 as a prototype shop, and our current owners, Dave Yeaman and Thomas Woger, who are both mechanical engineers, worked in the plastics industry. In 2006, they purchased MPC, and for the first year, ran it themselves, did everything. Tom's father was a tool maker, so Tom, figured out how to build their prototypes, and here we are, 18 years later, and we've got 85 people. So in that time frame, they've grown the company from 2 people to 85, and we're still growing.
That's exciting. It's exciting to hear that you're still growing. I know there's a lot of companies here in the US that have had the downsizing problem, and it feels like that you're getting smaller companies are closing down, and a lot of those employees are going to work for the larger companies. And then you're just getting like, one big company, and a bunch of the mom and pop places are kind of closing down. Is that a similar situation up north?
Yeah, one of the reasons we keep growing is because we're up for the challenge of making those difficult molds. We all know most of the easy work is long gone overseas.
Yeah.
But one of our specialty are plastic gears, mostly smaller molds. And we thrive on that challenge of building molds and making the parts that other people can't.
Okay. So you guys are specializing then in probably tight tolerance, high difficulty tooling. It's not, car fascias mostly.
No. Small plastic gears that would, make your windows go up and down, rotate your mirrors. So yeah, on our parts, it's quite often we're working to plus or minus half a thou.
Yep.
Yeah.
So when you look at what's going on, how long have you been in this industry?
Like I said, I've been here 11 years. Before that, I worked in the stamping industry for about 16 years. So yeah, I'm over 25, probably getting close to 30 years in the industry.
Okay. So what are some of the biggest challenges that you've seen in your tenure, not just in the plastic side, but in the stamping side, manufacturing as a whole?
Where I worked previously was a large company. Like there was around 800 people. So the challenge there was definitely, as anyone who works in a large company knows, it's once it gets so big, it's almost like it's out of control.
Sure.
And you do just feel like a number. So that the first part of my career, that was definitely a challenge I found, is that it's hard to feel like you were making a difference, moving things for the company. Whereas now, starting in I'd say we're a medium-sized company now, is that you can, you not only do you feel like you're part of the change and changing things, but you are changing things.
Sure.
When I started here, I was hired on as a sync EDM operator. So I did that for a couple of years, then moved to a supervisor position in the CNC shop, then manager, and then eventually, tool room manager, like I've been for the last 5 years.
Yep.
So one of the big changes we've had here is a change in the culture in our tool room.
Okay.
As we know, that old school culture of tool rooms could be what would you say?
Toxic.
Less toxic, yes.
Yeah.
Less than desirable.
Sure.
So that's a big change that we've seen is our culture. And probably the best compliment I've ever had is we had a graduate from Georgian College's precision skills course come through, and he was looking for employment, and he came for a tour, and I said, well, go around and check out all the other places in the area, and just so you know what's out there.
Yeah.
And when he came back, he said he wanted to work for us because not only was the shop clean and bright, but the people in our shop looked like they were enjoying what they were doing, made eye contact, and were smiling. And at many other places, that wasn't the case. Everyone looked miserable. So I think that's definitely one of the biggest challenges we face in our industry is, that change of culture, and not only for other people to attract them to our trade, to tell them that it's a great trade and can be very rewarding, is changing the culture within our trade so people know that, our jobs can be rewarding and should be fun. It's not always fun to come to work, but you shouldn't dread coming to work.
No, I don't think you should ever fully dread coming to work. We joke
Yeah.
about it all the time. We talk about it on this show all the time too, how you spend more time at work than you do at home.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you were for some people, if you were as miserable at home as you pretend to be at work, or you are at work, you would get a divorce, or you would move, or you would do something else, right? I mean, there's no
Yeah.
reason to be this upset every day when you're looking at what you do for a living.
Yeah. Yeah. Your wife and your kids would kick you out of the house.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And they would have every right if you were
Yeah.
walking around that grumpy and pissed off all the time. So what does that look like for you guys? I mean, I think that's a great point that, the old mentality of the way that things were done in a lot of manufacturing spaces was exactly what we were talking about, right? It was it could be a toxic environment. It was some hazing. It was some difficulty. It was, you got to follow the rules because I said so. How do we continue to get that to change?
I think part of it is, building that team atmosphere where we're working together. It used to be people didn't want to share their knowledge because they wanted to didn't want to lose their job, right? So like if I tell everyone how I keep this stuff running, then,
and they don't need me
for. Exactly.
Yeah.
So now we really, we try and work a lot on collaboration, not only within the tool room, but we've made a lot of great strides in the last year in the collaboration between our tool room and engineering. As you know, that's another two departments that have always had issues over the years.
Well, engineers are just a little bit different, right? If we're being honest, engineers and guys in the tool room are very, very different people.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying one is right and one is wrong, but I am saying that if you're an engineer out there, that sometimes you could be a little bit difficult to work with.
Yeah. Yeah. And we know there's definitely no tool makers out there who are difficult to work with.
No.
I've never met one of those.
No. It's definitely not both sides saying I'm right and you're wrong.
No. And so to build that relationship, sometimes it's small stuff. Like in the summer, we try and do barbecues together where it's interdepartmental, and we try and stop everyone from sitting in their little cliques and make them mix up and actually get to know each other.
Yeah. That's even difficult sometimes, isn't it? It's you got to. Vanessa does a good job with that. Every once in a while, we'll come up with some reason why everybody has to switch seats. Like one of the things that we've done is we'll have our team lunch, and she creates name tags for everybody, and they're either in pairs or in like foursomes or whatever that looks like, of people that should fit together based on whatever their name tag is. So like you might have Scooby-Doo, and somebody else has Shaggy, and somebody else has Fred, and all the team, and then you have to figure out who's on your team, and then that group sits together for lunch. There's no question who's going to sit with who.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
some of that, it's not random.
No. We've done that. We have a quarterly town hall meeting where the whole company gets together. We have lunch, and then our owner gives us a company update.
Okay.
So yeah, you're bringing together 80, 85 people. So yeah, I've done that a couple times where I've asked HR to make up tags and have a mix up the seating plan. So again, you're not getting all the groups sitting together.
Now, when you're,
Because we
that's interesting to me. When you have that town hall meeting, how much information is the ownership giving you guys?
Dave's pretty transparent with us. Yeah. He's usually, we go over any upcoming business that we have, go over the company financials a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I'd say he's fairly transparent. Yeah. There's no big secrets, or he's not hiding stuff from us.
Do you guys have a chance then? Is there like because it's a town hall, do you guys have a chance to like ask questions about what's coming up?
No, that's a good point. We actually, people could ask questions, but they don't.
Sure.
But
Nobody does.
that might be a good segment that we need to add to those meetings.
Yeah, I feel like if we opened it up for that, nobody would ask questions anyways. But I could be wrong. Yeah. But I really like that idea. I think it's a good idea. We do something similar, like monthly. We'll talk about if we hit our goals, or what that looked like, how much work we did in that month. Just letting people in and being able to celebrate the accomplishments that we have together as a company.
Yep. And that's kind of the second part of that meeting as well. We'll go over a bunch of the different company KPIs for different departments, and then each department will present a few continuous improvement ideas.
Yep.
And to recognize all the different teams for all those, sometimes those 2-second improvements are the best ones.
Yeah. It just takes somebody stepping up and saying it.
Yeah.
If you walk around the shop or the company or whatever that looks like, everybody has an opinion. There's not a single person that doesn't have an opinion on what you should be doing better or differently to make your company better. But for whatever reason, they don't necessarily like bringing them to the ownership team or the leadership to have those conversations. They would rather have them with, just small pockets of people. And I look at it and I go, hey, please share that information with us, because we're not opposed to making changes. How can we continue to get better? We need everybody's input together so that we can get better.
Yeah, and that's where we're fortunate. Both Dave and Tom know that some of the best ideas for improvement come from the people on the floor that are actually doing the job.
Yeah.
They know where their pain points are and what they need to make things better. Sometimes, sitting up in an office and people come up with these great ideas. That's, it's great up there. It's great on CAD, but we all know when we get down on the floor, sometimes those aren't the best ideas at all.
No, and sometimes it takes doing just that. We just had a customer in a few weeks ago, and we were doing some problem solving and laser welding for a production weld job, and we had our engineer in there, our R&D engineer, trying to figure out the best settings and parameters and what that looked like, and we were spending time doing it. We were getting little bits of progress here and there. And then Steve, who runs our production welding department, was like, hold on, what if we just do this? And he made a shift. It wasn't based on anything other than his intuition and the data he was getting back from the machine and the weld and what that looked like. And just like that, we had the solution. It was great. But it took that teamwork between the engineering, the production head, and the customer all being there together, sharing ideas and data to get to where we needed to be. And once we did, it was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's kind of my management philosophy is I always say, if I'm the smartest person in the room, then we're in big, big trouble.
Amen. Yeah. Nobody, I agree with you 100% on that one.
Yeah. I'm surrounded by a very, very talented team of mold makers, CNC machinists, We've got some brilliant engineers here. So when everyone comes together, yeah, there's not a lot that we can't solve here.
Yeah, no, I love it. So it sounds like there's a lot of similarities between the US and Canadian manufacturers.
Yeah.
I know what happened here in the US, which put a halt on the situation with American manufacturers. I know what that looks like. It was the need, the desire, the push for higher education, and to get people out of the workforce and into college and university.
Yeah.
Is that the same thing that happened in Canada?
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So you talked earlier about what's one of our biggest challenges or struggles. That's probably it is I would say the first thing we need to work on is educating the public in general about our trade specifically, but even just the skilled trades in general, right? So many
Yeah.
people, a lot of people know what a plumber does or an electrician, but a millwright, a machinist, a tool and die maker, mold maker.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd hazard to guess maybe 10% of the population know what we actually do. So yeah, that's the big step is educating everyone on the skilled trades, and then trying to attract them back into manufacturing and make those jobs desirable, like they once were.
I've heard more and more. It's been encouraging for me because I've heard more and more kids. I say kids, like people getting ready to leave high school, whether they're sophomores, juniors, seniors, whatever that looks like, talking about how they want to get into the trades. Right? They don't necessarily know what the
Yeah.
trades is. I think a lot of times they're thinking like welding. They're thinking electrician. They're thinking some sort of a union job. Maybe is where they're kind of leaning. I don't have a problem with the unions necessarily, but that's not our bag.
Yeah.
And I just think that there is this shift where kids have spent so much time on computers and electronics and been iPhone kids or iPad kids or whatever that looks like, that they don't want to do that anymore, right? They don't want to just sit at a desk and do that anymore. They would rather find what they can do with their hands, be creative, and find ways to make money right away instead of going to college or university and spending more time doing those things. Are you seeing the Canadian youth also going down that direction?
Yeah, I'd say the the last couple of years, the up here for sure, the skilled trades have started to pick up momentum again. And we're seeing that shift. I'd say there's still quite a ways to go.
Yeah.
And in Ontario, we have a program called the Ontario Youth Apprenticeship Program.
Okay.
So I got involved in our area a couple of years ago for what they call the Precision Metal Skills Advisory Committee. So tool and die, general machinist, mold maker.
Yep.
And how it works is in high school, the kids can sign up for a co-op and then get a job in one of our trades. And then those hours will count towards their apprenticeship once they're done high school.
Okay.
And specifically, we have advanced OEAP in our trades. So the kids apply in grade 11, and in their last semester, grade 12, they have their co-op. And then in May and June, they actually go to our local college and complete level 1 of their apprenticeship schooling. So they're graduating high school with some of their hours already completed and their level 1 apprenticeship schooling done.
Okay.
Which I should back up even more. In Canada, a 4-year apprenticeship, you've got 3 8-week sessions of schooling, level 1, 2, and 3. So I'm not sure how it works for you guys in the States for your apprenticeship, if it's something similar or.
To be honest with you, I'm not entirely sure. I have never gone through an apprenticeship program.
Yeah.
So there's a pathway to manufacturing and, pathway to excellence, if you will, right? There's a pathway to get that apprenticeship once even in high school to be able to working towards your future career.
Yeah. So that program's great for kids who know early on what they want to do, by early in high school. But I think our biggest opportunity is still, in grade 11, 12, those probably 90% of kids don't know what they want to do.
Yeah.
So if we can make those kids all aware of all the trades before they graduate, then at least they know that that's an option.
Sure.
We have in grade 10, we have what they call a careers course. So I've just recently started dialogue with, we're fortunate that in our area, our government rep happens to be the Minister of Education for the province. So I've started some dialogue with her to try and get 2 or 3 weeks in that grade 10 careers course that's focused entirely on the skilled trades.
Okay.
So, ideally every kid graduating high school in Ontario has been made aware of, a bunch of the skilled trades. So again, that's just starting with that education to try and get things moving in the skilled trades.
And it's just something different, right? I mean, it's an exciting thing. I know my uncle Kirby. He runs our polishing department. When he was in high school, he had a metal shop, and I remember because it was really really cool. In metal shop, he made a hammer. He made a high polished hammer. Like he machined all the parts together. He polished it, made the handle, the whole thing, and it wasn't just like a ball peen hammer. It was a really cool project. And I can just imagine kids today getting all psyched out about making something cool like that they then get to take home with them as something like, look, I made this, right? I did this with my own 2 hands. It was awesome. It was fun. I got to do this, that, and the other thing. I do feel like there's so many kids today that have no idea how anything is made at all, that they don't even realize that there's these opportunities. So aside from talking to the schools, is there anything that's happening in Canada? I mean, do you feel like the same situation is happening where folks are forgetting that we need to continue to make things here in North America?
Yeah, I think so. Unfortunately, I know we saw during COVID, we saw a brief period of time where everyone was on board with bringing everything back here to manufacture because it was so hard to get items. But once COVID was over, it seems to have gone back to the way it was.
Right.
And it's all about the mighty dollar, right? If people can get it made cheaper overseas, then they're doing it.
There really is. Scott Peters has some thoughts for us here. He's going to give us some information. He says there's an option to work with NIMS credentialing and an option to do the time and grade 10,000 hour apprenticeship. Both require related theory training. So he's given us some input based on what you were asking me that I didn't know the answer to. And of course, Scott knows that because he is a fountain of knowledge and has been around for a long time. He also, as the chair of the SPE Mold Technologies Division, he says the Mold Technologies Division is working with CAMM in promoting the industry through Canada. So it's a lot of organizations coming together for the benefit of manufacturing as a whole, which I think is a great thing. For all of us.
CAM stands for the Canadian Association of Mold Makers.
Okay.
Which I've just recently got involved with them over the last 3 or 4 months, and again trying to promote, not only promote all the mold companies in Canada, but bring them together to have one united, stronger voice.
I mean, it's an important thing to do. I mean, we have MAP for that here in the US. They do a great job with it. As far as the, importing offshore, reshore situation, is there a lot of pressure right now from offshore versus Canada? As far as domestic production on both plastic parts and building molds and actual molding, is there a lot that is currently going offshore?
Yes, I think, and that started probably similar for you guys around 2008, 2009.
Okay.
When we had that recession, that was when we lost a lot of companies to overseas, and specifically mold companies, and we also lost a lot of our mold makers because those places closed up, and a lot of them left the trade and went to
anything else
basically. Yeah. and then they never came back. So it's almost like we're missing at least one generation of mold makers, if not
Right.
two.
Right.
Yeah.
And with the equipment getting better, it can kind of like split that skills gap a little bit.
Yeah.
But you still need the knowledge base. You still need to know how to do the things that are important to be able to do, whether it's in the tool room or in the engineering room.
Yeah. Yeah. And in our case, we're running all our molds we build for in-house use. So we
Mhm.
have approximately 50 production injection molding machines and
Okay.
hundreds of our own molds. So yeah, it's our experienced mold makers. That's almost where we need them even more, is for doing repairs, troubleshooting production molds, as compared to fitting new molds. I mean, we do need them for that, but it's more on the production side where we really draw on their expertise.
Yeah. How I know that we have an election coming up. I don't know if you knew that.
I might have heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, there is an election today. It's kind of important. It's on a lot of people's minds. Trying to figure out what direction this is going to go, what direction the U.S. is going to go. Um, man, there's so much there. It's such a loaded question.
Yeah.
But I want to know from you, it's interesting for me to talk to people that are outside of the US to find out what their thoughts are on the ridiculousness of the US. Now, I know that Canada has its own barrel of monkeys and ridiculousness.
Yeah.
Um, but what is the view of the United States from Canada when it comes to our politics and how we're handling things and what that looks like?
Yeah, I think we have the same challenge there.
Yeah.
Whereas over the last 20, 30 years, it seems that uh, any top level leadership, they're not going into politics. So we're really struggling
Yeah.
to find a strong leader for not Canada and the US, I would say. Um, how's that for answering it
That's a
somewhat
very political answer.
politically?
It sounds like
Yeah.
you're getting ready to go into politics. But I think it's true. I mean, it doesn't seem to be a very desirable position, right? You get all the stress.
No,
It's not high paying. Um, Everybody
no,
hates
not
you
at
no
all.
matter what.
Yeah.
There's really no winning in this situation. Um, but it is really important. I mean, it is the free
Yeah.
world, right? Do you get a sense that Canadians are hoping for one result or the other when it comes to the US election, or do they just not care?
No, I think up here, I would say, at least the people that I've talked to, it's probably about 50-50.
Okay.
Um, in my mind, I think I know who's going to win. Um, and I'm not sure what's going to happen, but I think we talked about briefly before. I think in both countries and probably other countries around the world, everyone's been kind of sitting on new jobs and just
Yeah.
waiting for the last at least 2 or 3 months to see what happens tonight before they move forward.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Listen, I'm not going to hide it. I'm a Trump guy, not because I love everything he says. I think that he can be a huge jackass. I mean, that's just a reality.
Yeah.
I 100% agree with that. But I do like more about what the administration is doing and what's important to me. I feel like business was better 4 years ago. I feel like he was stronger on bringing things back to the United States. I feel like he had a focus on building our country and treating it like a business and not worried about what every other business in the world is doing. I try and tell people like I get to be the president of Alliance, right? That's my focus. So when I look at things, I go Alliance first because I'm the president of Alliance. I don't think that makes me a bad guy. I just think like I know who I need to look out for and serve first. I would like the entire industry to succeed. Obviously, that's a great idea. But first and foremost, I got to take care of my people and our team and what that looks like and branch out from there. So on that side, I think Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes you got to say things that are hard, and you got to do things that are hard, and you can't just be everybody's best friend,
Yeah.
and be coddling and say to heck with it, and whatever happens happens. But there's so many parts to why I would make that choice. And I think that uh unborn life is really, really important, and I want to look out for that and do what I can for that. I think that I have a daughter, and I don't want her to ever have to compete in sports against men, unless it's a co-ed league. If it's a co-ed league,
Yeah.
then that's a different story. But I care about my daughter's safety. I don't want a person with a penis going into the bathroom that she's going into. I don't think that's necessary for my daughter.
Yeah.
And so these are reasons that I originally I would go that way. And then when you add in people like Elon Musk, who I think is a genius, and the way that he's been able to do things with SpaceX and everything else, I think that's a great addition to a team of people that want to make things better in a lot of ways. And then you add in RFK Jr., and he's just trying to say, like, our food is worse than the rest of the world, right? Like, we are
Yeah.
the most quote unquote powerful country, and our food is worse than the rest of the world. How is this possible? And how does nobody care about it? And adding like strong people like that to his team tells me that he, like you said, I don't need to be the smartest person in the room. I just need to surround myself with other smart people to help me achieve our goal, to help us to be better. And for me, when I look at all those things together, the choice is really clear for me.
Yep. Yeah, and there was lots said there. Just kind of try
Sorry.
it all together.
Sorry.
That's all right. I was recently on a trip with there's about 28 of us, and only two of us were from Canada. Everyone else was from the States, and that seemed to be the common sentiment from everyone was of who they were going to vote for,
Yeah.
and it was more to do with there was no other choice. Again, there's just that lack of leadership. So there was basically the decision was a no-brainer based on there was no competition.
Right. Right. And I think there
Yeah.
are a lot of very brilliant people out there. I think most of them are probably doing really, really well in business. And that's kind of what we need, right? We've
Yeah.
taken all of these business leaders in whatever organization they're in, and we go, we need to get you leadership training. We need to get you coaching. We need to teach you how to manage a team and lead a project and do all this stuff, and we build them up, and then we give them big corporate jobs, and they build these companies into these massive successes. That's the kind of people that we need running our country and your country, because that is a business. It's a business, but it's a
Yeah.
global business that needs to work well in all these other, you know, factions and functions and all these other ways. But we're not getting those people. What we tend to
No.
get are the people that have been in politics their entire career, and they may not have all those leadership skills.
No.
They speak well. They can get really, really, really mad at people, and they can voice their opinion, but they don't necessarily have the leadership to be able to do the things that need to happen for all of us to benefit.
Yeah. And I think we're all in agreement that to live in two of the best countries in the world, I don't mind paying my taxes,
No.
but it's a lot of money, but to live here, it's worth it. But, like all of us, it really frustrates me and everyone else when you see the way the money just gets pissed away, you
Yes.
know?
Yes. And I really think, I don't want to go down too much of a rabbit hole, but I think what ends up happening, that I've seen happen a lot of times, is you get a lot of people that have opinions based on nothing, right? They hear a
Yeah.
speaking point and they go, "Yeah, I want that." Um, One of the examples that I can come up with off the top of my head is this idea of socialized medicine or healthcare. It's a great concept, right? Like, it's a really, really good concept to say that people shouldn't have to worry about going to the hospital. They should be taken care of. It should be a right to have all that happen. And one of the things you'll hear people say is, well, they have that in Europe, right? Well, we have some
Yeah.
friends staying with us right now who actually live in Budapest, Hungary. They live in this situation. And I was talking to them and I said, okay, I hear people all the time tell me that they wish that we had this kind of socialized medicine. What does that look like for you? And they're like, it's horrible. Like, the hospitals look like they're straight out of a horror movie. The doctors don't care. There is no bedside manner. They said when you watch a hospital TV show in Budapest and the doctors are coming over going, you know, we care about you. We want the best for you. This is this. They're like, that doesn't happen. Nobody does that. The doctors are mean. They just want to get on with their day. They don't care about how you're doing. If you're too old, they don't see you and they get to dictate if you're too old or not. So you hear this like speaking point of that sounds great. I want that. But if you don't dig into the details of it, you don't know what it really is. You don't know what you're asking for. And I think
Yeah.
that's sometimes what goes crazy.
Yeah. I think in Canada, our medical system's a little bit better than that, and where we do have, all my experiences have been positive. Yeah, you hear stories of people having to wait sometimes for tests, but everyone that I've ever had to see or taken my kids to see, all the medical people, they care,
Well, that's good.
definitely care, and provide excellent service. The issue we're having up here is probably similar to you as well, is especially after COVID, we had a lot of people burned out,
Yes.
a lot of
Yes.
people leaving, especially the nursing profession.
Or not even leaving voluntarily, but being asked to leave because they disagreed with certain policies or
Yeah,
didn't want to do certain things. They were said, you can't work here anymore,
yeah,
which that doesn't do anybody any good, right?
no.
So all of that to say, tonight is going to be an interesting thing, but my opinion is it doesn't matter who the president is if you know who the king is. And
Yeah,
I'm just going to continue to serve one person and serve God and know and trust that he knows what's going to happen. And whatever happens is according to his will. I don't think there is a such thing as an election being stolen, because that would mean that you would have to fool God. And I don't think you can do that. That's my personal opinion. And so, all the fighting and contention and anger that's going to happen in the next few days. That's why I intentionally wore this shirt today. Not today, Satan. We're not going to deal with you.
yeah,
We're going to take care of
yeah,
our families. We're going to take care of our work. We're going to take care of the things that we can take care of. And the things that we can't really do much about. We can go out and vote. You should go out and vote. You should do that. But other than that, we just need to trust God that he's going to provide what he needs to provide and he's going to do what he needs to do. And we need to be okay with that.
yeah, I agree with that 100%. We know we have one person that we're working for. No matter where we're working, we're all working for the same guy.
Mm-hmm. That's the
Yeah,
most important thing. Like I think the companies that are having that transformative view of culture, like you mentioned before, I think they kind of get that, right? Um, I think in order to transform your culture, what you need to do is you gotta love your team. You can't just pretend. You actually have
yeah,
to love them and care about them.
yeah, and yeah, I'm fortunate there as well, that both our owners are strong Christians, and our and Dave tells this to everybody. He says, if our purpose was to come in here and make plastic parts every day, that'd be pretty depressing. But and that's why I love working here, because our purpose is to come here, build a strong culture, provide a
Yeah.
place where people can come to work, know that they're appreciated, treated fairly, not bullied, and then they can obviously make money, support their families. So in the
Yep.
end, we're supporting a huge part of our community, 85 families at least. And that's our purpose.
And I think that's the thing. I was just at an event here for the TMA. It's Christians in Manufacturing Prayer Breakfast, and I know that there's not every business owner needs to be a Christian. I understand
Yeah,
that, right? I'm not saying that's the way it needs to be, but it's really encouraging and refreshing for me to be able to go to an organization like that. It was our annual prayer breakfast. There were over 100 people there. We heard testimonies from business owners and people within the manufacturing space about why it's important to them, how they choose to live, and what that looks like for their business, and building their business on kingdom principles rather than worldly principles. Um, and I've never heard somebody come speak uh, where their business is failing because they're doing those sorts of things, that they're living in kingdom principles. Um, this month, or this year's verse was seek first the kingdom of heaven. It's Jack's favorite verse. He's listening with us, and it's something that we talk about, right? Not everybody in our company is a believer. It would be weird if they were, right? It gives us a mission field every time we come to work, and I know that not everybody's going to get on board with the things that I have to say, but what I can tell them is, I want to love people and care for people and act the way I act, because this is where I'm getting my information from. This is the instruction manual for my life.
Yeah. Yeah. And on that note, on our quarterly town hall meetings, that's how Dave always finishes up, is goes over our code of conduct and how we should treat each other. And then I think right from day one, part of the code of conduct has been Ephesians 4:29.
Okay.
About, you would think after all this time I could quote it word for word, but generally it's saying, let nothing unwholesome come out, be spoken, and only say words that are building each other up. It's kind of the short version of it.
Let's see. Do not let any. You did a pretty good job. Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen. Now, even if you don't want to be a believer, you have a different religion, you can't argue with that line of information.
Yeah.
You can't say, be a huge jerk to everybody around you, treat them horribly, badmouth them, and expect them to want to get on board with the things that you're doing. It doesn't work that way.
No. And we all, obviously no one's perfect. We all fail at that. But, imagine what the world would be like if, we could follow that 80% of the time.
Yes. It would be, dare I say, a better place.
Yes.
Darryl, before we get into our 5 questions, is there anything else that you want to touch on in our conversation?
No, I think we've covered most of it. Maybe I'll just touch briefly on, I mentioned the last couple of years I've got involved in OEAP and promoting the skilled trades.
Yes.
As we get older in our careers, started with, you want to train the next generation. And then the last couple of years, it's been more like, not only do I want to train the next generation, I want to make sure that all kids, students, and parents know about the skilled trades so that we continue to build that. And I know in Ontario, we have, over the next 10 years, we're going to need at least 500,000 people coming into the skilled trades. Yep. We've got a third of our approximately 1.3 million skilled trades people we currently have are over the age of 55. So we know in the next 10 years, they're going to be retiring, and we need to replace all those people, plus bring in more, most likely. So, I mean, I think that's developed into my passion, is promoting the skilled trades and advocating wherever I can.
Yeah. It's a really, really important thing. We have to continue to push the industry, the skilled trades, manufacturing. We have to continue to allow the next generation of kids to see that. We have to continue to get the next generation of parents to see that. Yeah. So they tell their kids that they're good avenues for work, that they are a real source of income and a professional career.
Yeah.
That's not going to go out of style. I mean, manufacturing is never going to go away in North America. It's just not.
Yeah, and we need to change that stigma that, if you work in a manufacturing setting, it's dark and dirty and dingy and, like you see in old movies. That's not the case anymore.
No. And if it is, that's probably going to go out. And it's going to be replaced by somewhere that's a little bit cleaner, nicer, and happier to work. Scott Peters says, Moses said it correctly as a leader. Without a vision, the people will die. As leaders in business, we need to remember that our businesses will die. We need to communicate the vision and the team will follow. I mean, it's a true statement. And
Yeah.
I think that's a thing that has gotten better, is communication within teams. I think part of the problem is a lot of people never felt comfortable communicating the why, whether they didn't have the technical or the not the technical, whether they didn't have the confidence to be able to explain the why to their team, or maybe even just the proper words to be able to explain the why. I think people thrive and they are much more willing to get on board with ideas and concepts if you can tell them why something is the way that you want them to do that.
Yeah, for sure. If you can't explain the why, then it's always going to be a struggle,
And then you
especially now.
resort to the two worst phrases in my opinion in life, which is because I said so, and
Yeah,
because it's the way that we do it. Ugh,
yeah,
I
yeah,
hate it.
because we've always done it that way. You can't do it differently. And yeah, we all know how well because I said so works at home with the kids.
It's terrible. And
Yeah,
I don't blame them. I mean, I really don't. I don't blame them. I hated when my dad said it. I hated myself when I said it. And then I told both of my kids, I told Jack and I told Grace, I'll never say that to you again. Like
yeah,
I will explain why, because I think there's learning in why, there's understanding in why, there's communication in why, there's love in why, right? Like all those
yeah,
things, it takes more time, but it's worth it. It's worth it to be able to get people to understand where it is that you're coming from in all those situations. Jack, are you still with us?
Yes.
Would you like to lead Darryl in 5 questions today?
I'm gonna pass just in case the same thing happens as
Ah,
last week and I go out mid-time.
all right. Do you have any thoughts to add to our conversation so far?
Um, I don't know. I guess just re-emphasizing what you were talking about with, um, the new desire for people or high school kids and younger people to be working with their hands and how a lot of them are kind of tired of sitting and working on a desk and a computer. And the desire for trades is from like what I've seen in a lot of my friends who, they didn't want to go to college because they want to go into the trades and they want to just make money.
Yeah.
Um, and so I have seen that increase a lot just within my friend group.
Yeah. And that's even that's a small pocket, that's a small segment of people.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
All right. Let's see. All right, Darryl, you ready?
Okay.
If you could make one rule that everyone had to follow, what would that rule be?
Probably be along the lines of what we talked about. It's, you must treat everyone the way you want to be treated.
I like it. I like it. I think he's going to rip through these pretty quick here, Jack. If you could have dinner with any 3 characters from a book, movie, or show, who would they be?
Ooh, this one's a little bit tougher. Let's say 3 of the disciples.
Okay. Any in particular?
Definitely Paul.
Okay.
Maybe James and Peter.
Okay. I think it would be really interesting with Paul to like find out like, man, how horrible were you really?
Yeah.
Like how horrible were you truly? What did that look like?
Yeah.
And you can even ask James, you're asking James, like, what was Jesus like as a kid?
Yeah.
Were you annoyed? Were mom and dad always like, why can't you be more like your brother?
Your brother.
It would be so annoying. His room's always clean. But it's a good thing. All right. What are you proud of that you never get to talk about?
I have, it's only recently that I've started to talk about it more, and that's that proud of the culture change that's happened in the tool room at MPC. I think in my career, over 25-year career, that's probably the thing that I'm most proud of. For
is
sure.
being able to change over that culture.
Yeah. To create an environment where people want to be here, want to work, want to come to work, and they enjoy working with the team.
Was that embraced fairly quickly? Like when you came in with new ideas, did you get resistance from people like, dude, that's not the way we do things here?
Especially I came in not in a supervisor manager position.
Okay.
So it took probably a good 5-6 years.
Okay. Did you ever feel discouraged? Like I'm beating my head against the wall. People aren't going to get it. Why am I doing this?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Well,
like probably the first 5 or 6 years before we started to turn the corner.
Yeah. And then once it started to turn the corner, did it just start to pick up a momentum and you thought, okay, wait a minute, this is actually a thing?
Yeah, for sure. There were there were a couple, we called them culture terrorists, that we unfortunately had to let go.
Okay.
But yeah, it was, it's one of those things where it's tough to let people go, but on the other hand, it's really easy because they're preventing the vision that you have from happening.
Well, and it's also very, very necessary.
Yeah.
To do that. I mean, nobody likes letting people go. It's not fun, right? As somebody that has the privilege of being able to do that, right? The responsibility of being able to do that. It's not a pleasant experience, but it's for the good of the whole of the organization. And then a lot of times it's good for the individual also, because if you're not fitting in with what we're trying to do, this is never going to work. And it's trying to stuff a square piece in a round hole, right? And if we know our vision, we know who we are and what we want to be, and you don't want to be that, we're inviting you to be that. If you don't want to be that, then we're going to ask you to leave.
Yeah. And the whole team sees that, right? You're trying to build something and you've got 1 or 2 individuals who are going against it totally, and everyone else is saying, well, why
do they get to get away with this? Why don't they have to do this? And it just becomes this nightmare. I like how you said cultural terrorist. I think that's good.
Yeah.
If you could have any animal sidekick, what would it be and why?
I'll be honest, I'm not. We have a couple cats at home, but I am not. I would not call myself a pet lover. So this one's a little more challenging. Okay. I don't know. Kangaroo would be kind of cool, wouldn't it?
A kangaroo. I like that. Jack, would you have expected a kangaroo?
No, I would not have, but I mean, it's a pretty dang good option.
You've seen all the cartoons about how kangaroos like to box and stuff, right? You could your sidekick could take care of all the problems for you.
I don't hate that answer. I think it's a great answer. I was not expecting kangaroo, but I can appreciate kangaroo in that context. Yeah. He can carry all your stuff.
And if you had asked me 5 minutes ago what I would pick, I probably wouldn't have picked that either. So
no,
I'm as surprised as you are at that answer.
I mean, you don't have to bring a backpack. They got their own pouch. They'll fight your fights for you. They can jump over high walls. It's a good answer. Perfect. I like it. It's like the animal was manufactured well.
Yes.
Last question. How long would you last in the Hunger Games?
This is another one where this is embarrassing, but I'm not a big movie watcher.
Okay.
So I'll be honest, I've never seen one of those movies.
Okay. All right. So maybe
I've heard probably not very long at all. I've heard, enough to get the general gist of the movie, but I would, unless I had my kangaroo with me, I think I'd be done pretty quick.
Yeah. We need to shift that question, Jack. How long would you last in the Hunger Games with your sidekick?
Yeah.
Yeah, but like you have to ask the sidekick question before you ask the Hunger Game question. Because
Yeah.
you ask the Hunger Game
Yeah.
question before, they'll pick like, oh, elephant.
Yeah.
That's cheating.
Right. Right. But now we know what the sidekick would be. I think
Mhm.
with a kangaroo,
Yeah.
you got a pretty good chance.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right. That's
yeah. I
good.
think the Roadrunner, that'd be a pretty good one.
Roadrunner?
Just going beep beep.
I mean, the coyote never caught him. The
No.
roadrunner gets away from
That's
everything.
right. The coyote never caught him, so
So you want the cartoon roadrunner as your sidekick?
I think that or Taz.
Taz?
Yeah,
Tasmanian Devil. Yeah.
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 I
I mean,
think that'd be
nothing's
a
getting
good
through
one.
that. You just got to walk
Yeah.
behind him.
Yeah, that's right.
This is the part of the conversation where Daryl's going, "What did I sign up for? Why did I do this? I had better things to do."
I don't know, Tony. It seems like a good place to end, doesn't it?
It does. It does. But
Yeah.
before we do that, we have one more thing that we have to do, which is way more important than our ridiculous 5 questions. We need to pray. And so,
Okay.
Darryl, are there any things that you would like prayer requests for today?
Yeah, we've got a close friend who's had a not great cancer diagnosis. So yeah, if you could pray for Jake, please.
For Jake. Jack, anything for you?
I would just say there's more and more people on the team who are not in shape and who have to do different rehab stuff. And so with the first meet coming up in December, it's getting, it's discouraging to have to go through that.
Sure.
And so just that they get healthy, but that they also stay confident and they don't get in their own heads and they don't get discouraged.
Sure. Yeah. All right, let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for today. Thank you for this conversation with Darryl and with Jack. And we just pray that you would be with us in our struggles, in our sadness, and our hurts, and our disappointments, and our concerns. We pray that you would be with us in our sickness, and that we could put our faith and trust and hope in you and know that you are with us and we could feel your presence. God, we pray for Jake and his battle with cancer. And we pray for all the people who are dealing with this, whether it's, little Jake or Darryl's friend, Jake. And we just pray that you would give them comfort, that you would give them peace, that you would heal their bodies and give the medical staff the knowledge that they need and the direction that they need. So that they could come to know you more. And we just pray that whatever happens in those situations, that it would lead us closer and deeper in love with you, because we know that you love us and you loved us first. And so we just put all our focus there, and we just pray for those people that are injured or discouraged, that you would you would give them hope. Whether they know you or not, you would use this as an opportunity to call them deeper into a relationship with you, because you want them and you offer that gift, and it's up to us to accept it. And lastly, God, I would just pray for our country as we have this election today, that your will would be done, that we would have peace in our country, that we would have understanding in our country, and that no matter which way the wind blows and however it goes, that we could remember that you are in control of all the things, not just some of the things, but all of the things. And we would rely on you to get us through whatever that looks like. We pray that this conversation was glorifying to you, and we give it to you and only you. And it's in Jesus' name we pray. Darryl, thank you for carving out some time and getting on with us. I know we've been talking about this for a little while, and it's great to finally be able to sit down and connect with you and hear what you have going on. What is the best way for people to be able to get a hold of you if they want to keep this conversation going with you?
I've got a LinkedIn account under my name, Darryl Gratrix. I'm on Instagram at NextGen Skilled Trades. Those are probably the best 2 spots.
Okay.
Yeah. And thanks for having me, Tony.
No, it was great to have you on here. I really appreciate you taking the time and all the things that you're doing to continue to push the idea of manufacturing and skilled trades in Canada. It's awesome to hear all the things that you have going on, and it's reassuring and somewhat comforting to know that we're all going through the same crap uh,
Yeah.
together. And so let's just keep continuing to fight to reshore to North America, keep things being built here, make manufacturing great again here in our little continent of the world, and do what we can to improve the lives of our teams and the people that we know, love, and live with.
Yeah. Sounds good, Tony.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Have a good day.
Yep. You too.
Sorry about that. Quick juggling.
That's
that was
okay.
Darryl. Oh, hold on.
Yeah. Sorry.
I got to wrap some things up real quick, Darryl. Are you
Yep.
jumping off?
Could we wrap up later?
Yes, of
I
course.
should have a last minute meeting book for 3:30, so I'm running late.
Yep.
But
Go take care of your meeting.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks. That was Darryl. As you heard, he's getting ready to go to a meeting. It was a last minute meeting. I'm glad we were able to get through all of the conversations and the things that we needed to talk about. I think it's crazy. I think it's crazy to think that we're just a short distance away from each other. And we're having all the same kinds of situations. Everybody's having the same kinds of situations, whether that's team situations, leadership situations. What has become clear to me with all the conversations that we have with people when it comes to manufacturing is the real need to be able to care about the people that you work with and work for, the people who work above you, the people that work below you, underneath you, that we all need to work together, and we need to be loving each other and be understanding with each other and be grace filled with each other. But we also need to tell the truth and what that looks like. And so it's not a matter of just excusing everything that happens at work or just sweeping it under the rug. Sometimes what you need to do when you love somebody is call attention to the bad behavior or the thing that's happening or the thing that's causing the issue and find ways to make sure that it stops happening. Right. That's the loving thing. Right. You don't have somebody that has cancer and say, man, that really sucks. You should stop having cancer. It doesn't work that way. You have to find the root cause of the problem, dig into it, address the issues, find solutions, take care of the solutions, and then watch the healing occur. That it seems to be a conversation that happens over and over and over again when we have these shows about leadership and what teams are looking for and how we do that. And so I would encourage you, if you're in manufacturing, to keep pushing forward. Right, keep finding new ways to connect with your team, keep reaching out to more people and say, hey, you should be part of what we're doing here. You should know what we're doing here. This is what our company does. We'd love for you to be a part of it. Keep telling your stories, shouting your stories, and let's grow manufacturing together as a whole. It's a great industry. We make the stuff that gets us through life. And I know some amazing people that are doing this day in and day out. And I just feel really, really passionate about it. So I'm excited to keep telling these stories. And so if you would like your story told, if you would like to be part of the Manufacturing Alliance, we want to tell your story. You could just reach out to us. You can reach out to Jack. He's got his own email address. Send him a message and just be like, hey, Jack, I heard the show. I think it's just okay. But I would like to tell my story on there and let people know what it is that we're doing. So send him an email. Let him know. Jack at the manufacturingalliancepodcast.com. And let's do that. Let's tell your story. Let's just do it. I think it would be great. Jack, anything to add today?
No, it was a very good show.
Oh, Jack thought it was a good show. I hope you thought it was a good show. I would encourage you to like us, follow us, subscribe to all the things that we're doing, so that you never miss an episode. We're going to keep telling stories. We're going to keep pushing forward. We're going to have a lot of fun. But in the meantime, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Take care and God bless.